2025 Colonial Beach Olympic. This one's taking place June 22nd. Before we talk about the main things of the race, please make sure you like, subscribe, share. And if you do need any coaching assistance, coaching advice, don't be afraid to reach out. Contact info is down below. The 22nd is the date of the Olympic. Over here, I love the Kinetic Multisports page. You got course info right there. You can drop that down and do what we're going to do in a second here. Look at the packet pickup. It's located right here. Two options, Saturday or Sunday. On Saturday, it's 5 to 7 at the race site with the pre-race meeting at 6. Sometimes they do it on their Facebook Live, so make sure you do follow them for that. The race's address is right here. Day 2, race day. You do have the option to do packet pickup then, 5:30 to 6:20 at the race site. You're going to pick up your timing chip, your bib. You're going to pick up body marking and all that good stuff on race day. Please, if you are going to do it on race morning, make sure you arrive probably 20-30 minutes ahead of time of what you plan to arrive at there so you can take care of all of the details. Also, speaking of details, on their site, they got race policies, directions, athlete guide. Highly recommend you check that out. Participant list and facts located right there as well. So that is our Colonial Beach taking place on June 22nd here. This is our swim. If we, the direction that the swim is going to take place, our start is right here at the top. We're going to have a little hot corner right there. Flying down, turning around this buoy and then back in. They do reserve the right to reverse the race direction on race morning. That's typically going to happen if the currents are flip-flopped on race day. We are going to be talking about if the currents are going to go downward, north to south here. But again, if it's the opposite, just make sure you adjust your race plan slightly to account for that. When you do start out, we're going to head to this first buoy here, and it is going to be a battle. Pretty much no matter where you are, you're going to have a little rocky shore out there, so it's not going to be smooth into that water. It's going to be a little rough, and because of that, everyone's going to be bunched up. And you're compounding that with a turn that's going to happen earlier in the race than you would like, so you don't really get a chance to spread out in the water. Hot corner, that's why it is a hot corner. It's because no one can spread out and it's super compact there. Pretty much no matter where you are, for the front, middle, or back, it's going to be really, really busy if you're in the middle front area. After you get past that in the race, it starts to spread out a little bit. People are a little bit nicer usually. But if you are in the front runners or the mid front, this is the point at which you want to arrive at in the front or towards the front of the group that you're in. It's just going to minimize the stress on race day. You're probably going to be in a faster group anyways. So all these reasons are pushing that to be a very busy corner. Now keep in mind that the currents are going to push you down here. You're going to have a tail current here, so that's going to have a couple of things that come with it. The first, some athletes are going to overdo it out there. They're not going to realize they're getting assisted by the current out there, and that's going to have huge ramifications in a second here. Another thing that's going to do is that could potentially keep athletes more compact or the groups a little bit more together, just because it's going to be a little harder to overcome that current and get further away from people. So people do get frustrated, and what you will find is as athletes head down this road here, their effort starts to increase just because they're trying to get away from people. It's like racing online on one of the virtual platforms on a bike. Very, very similar mentality here. Athletes will notice if they've overdone it or not at this turn right here. This is the point at which everyone starts to say, oh gosh, what have I done? And if we did have a tail current coming down here, that means all the way back we are going to be fighting the current here. So you really want to save your energy for the way back right here. That is the key to our swim right here. Arrive at this turn buoy in a good spot. Hang on to the good fast group here, maintain your pace, and make sure you turn here. This is going to be where you start to turn the jets on, and on the way back here, this is going to be a prime time place for you to up the effort a bit. And if you've done that on the way out, you will not be able to, and you're just going to have to kind of nurse yourself all the way back in. Taking a left-hand turn over here, this is going to come a lot faster than you want, so really you need to start your water exit strategies like kicking your legs and all that good stuff, sighting, thinking about what you're going to do in T1, all that good stuff. It's going to have to happen a little bit earlier than you think on this course because you're going to be done a little bit faster right after this turn here. So just a heads up. Also, those rocks that we talked about at the beginning are also going to be there at the end. So plan for a rough exit out there. It's not going to be as smooth as one might think. Scrolling down, this is our bike. We do have two loops of our loop here. We do have, when we leave here, we're going to do this in a counterclockwise fashion, doing it twice and then heading back into town. What that's going to look like is something like this. We do have about 470 feet of elevation gain, so a pretty flat course, all things considering. If we do highlight this one section here for about a mile, we have 67 feet, so we have about 130 feet just happening in about a mile here. So that's going to be another key to the course. What that's going to look like on a power profile, let's get rid of elevation because we've already seen that. Um, it's going to be pretty steady throughout the day here. If you've noticed, there's not a whole lot of intervals out here. This athlete's going to hold 209 watts, 200 watts here, back to 200 again. So this athlete's going to probably hold 200 to 210 for the majority of the day. On the hills out here, we're going to bump up to 230. So I mean, you could translate that to your plan pretty easily. Out here, this athlete has about a 240, 250 FTP here. Time analysis. Actually, before we do that, let's back up here. As we roll around the course here, watch the rider on the bottom right here. This is going to be what the wind is doing out here on race day. You could see that we are going to have a headwind initially out here for the first 4 or 5 miles. Once we make this turn, it stays headwind. Awesome. And as we come back over here, this is going to be where you have your tailwind, usually. Not always the case. And as we roll around again, pretty standard stuff. It's going to be exactly what we did for our first loop with slight modifications out here. But that tailwind is going to remain consistent all the way back into town. Looking at the weather, this is exactly what we just talked about here. Temperature out here, again, this is a very rough gauge. They're saying about 77, 78 degrees. Who knows what it's going to be on race day, but plan accordingly. If it's going to be a hot day, you need to probably back things off a tad, and you can't get super, super aggressive. If you do have a little cold front rolling through here, then you can kind of change your approach slightly, but all of that is pretty hunky-dory. Time analysis out here, increasing your drag is going to have about 14 seconds of gain out here for you. Increasing your power slightly is going to have another 20 seconds of help for you. If you decided to drop a pound or two, that's going to have 4 seconds of savings out here. If you wanted to decrease your rolling resistance slightly, you're going to have a 4-second gain. So for this course out here, if you're anywhere near fit and where you want to weigh, what you want to do is decrease that drag and increase that power on race day. Looking at our zones on race day, our zones, this is pretty standard for a course like this. It's going to be majority of time in zone 3 with some of our time in zone 4 and during the sections that we just talked about. It's going to be where you're going to experience that more than likely. And that is that for our race day. I don't know. I don't think they're going to have any aid stations out there. And if they do, they're only going to have one. But I would imagine there's no aid. So you're going to have to bring everything out there with you. All right, our run course, this is an out and back section. You're going to make a loop around town here. You're going to start off actually with, that's a wrong arrow. You're going to start out of transition. You're going to head up north and you're going to turn around and you are going to run all the way down and then all the way back up and then you're going to return journey back home out there. They've already said in here that there is little to no shade. I can definitely tell you from firsthand experience that that is for sure the case. I would plan for a hot one. If it's 78 on the bike, I would plan for it in the mid to high 80s on the run. For whatever reason, the wind doesn't really help you out here. It is a hot one for sure. Everyone that's run this in moderate to hot conditions will say that the wind is not really existing out here, and if it does blow, it doesn't really help. What you're going to experience is a hot, hot, hot course. This is a perfect heat training course out here. This is a perfect opportunity for you to practice for later on in the year. So if you are doing a bigger event later in the season and it is going to be hot there, this is a perfect opportunity for you to practice some of those conditions and what to do and expect in it. This run is going to be largely dictated by what happened on the bike and also your heat tolerance. If you've really overdone it on the bike, then the run is largely going to be impacted. If we look at the elevation gain out here, it's 90 feet for the majority for all of this on the run here. Only real hill that we have out here is a 1% incline, and even then, it's nothing really major to write home about. You probably won't even notice it. That's our major climb out there. And again, 6.2 miles, you're going to be in the sun the entire time. You're going to have to be practicing your heat strategies. I keep talking about it. And this is a race where managing some of that external heat load is going to be very, very beneficial, more so at other events here. I would plan to be out here in the sun the entire time if it is sunny. If it's cloudy and cool out here, wow, happy days, really jealous because that has never happened to me. Not to say that it will happen, but it's never happened to me. And that is the Colonial Beach Olympic out here. Make sure you're keeping cool in the first couple miles of the run and slowly try to ramp it up. If you find that you're just hot, you can't really escape the heat or run through the heat, you need to back things down and just run the race that you are capable of. You'll be surprised at how many athletes you will catch out there on the run, just running your speed, your pace, and actually respecting the course a little bit and not trying to chase the next person in front of you. A really common occurrence is for athletes to fly the first mile or two, and then their pace just drops for the remainder of the run out here. What you would hopefully be doing out here is maintaining and slightly getting faster. If you do that strategy, you're going to conquer the course and you're going to capture a lot of people in the last mile or two, believe it or not. And they're just going to be fading and falling away. If you are a front runner, you're going to have to gauge and see what's happening on race day. A lot of times, some of these strategies don't work in real time, and you're going to have to do what is appropriate for you. So if you are chasing a medal, if you're chasing an age group win, all that good stuff, then you are going to have to probably change slightly on course. But again, know your limits, know what you've been doing in the lead up to this race, and have a blast out there. Colonial Beach 2025 Olympic. If you have any questions or want to dish a little bit more about it, feel free to reach out to me. Contact info is down below. Good luck everyone on the 2025